Hello, welcome to Module 2, Lesson 3 of the Scratch Computer Science 20S course. Today we're going to be looking at what we call nested loops. And nested loops are a very handy, very efficient way of repeating code. They are basically loops inside loops. And the way I like to describe them is the traditional Ukrainian Matryoshka dolls. Here we've got the Simpsons variety of them. These are dolls that sort of sit inside one another. Okay, these are nested little Maggie sits inside Lisa, and Lisa sits inside Marge, sits inside Homer, and sits inside Bart, and so on. Okay, so nested loops. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean here with a Scratch bit of code here. So what do you think this one does? We've got basically the same stuff we've had before. We're hiding the Scratch sprite. We're clearing. We're lifting the pen up. We're changing the pen color. We're making it a bigger pen size. We're going to a certain position. We're going to point in a certain direction, and then we're going to notice here that we've got to repeat 2 times, and then inside that we've got to repeat 3 times, and here we've got to repeat 5 times. So this bit here is going to make a triangle, and you'll notice that it's not commented. It should be. Repeat 3 times here. This is going to make a triangle. It's going to move my pen over 200 spots. Then it's going to repeat 5 times, and it's going to do a hexagon here. It's going to lift my pen. Then it's going to change the x by minus 200, so it's going to go back to the left. And then it's going to change my y by minus 100, so it's going to drop down a line or drop down 100 steps, and then it's going to repeat the whole thing all over again. So what you're going to get is you're going to get 2 lines of figures. Let me just show you what that looks like. Okay, so you should pause the video and type that in, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've got my script here, and you'll notice I've got the end result here. When I draw it again, it draws, and it actually happens very fast there. I'm going to put my single stepper on. I'm going to set it to, because it would be a little slow, let's go flash blocks fast. Okay. You notice that it draws the triangle, then the hexagon, and then the triangle, the hexagon. And it's done. The second set is because of my repeat 2 times here. And I've got here in my slides, to get 3 lines of shape requires 1 small change. If I want, instead of just 2 lines, if I want 3, 1 small change, all I do is I change this number right here. Whoops. Change that number right there to a 3. Okay, so nested loops are very efficient. They allow you to repeat things that are repeated. That type of idea. Okay, so I would like you to take that bit of code that you've done, and I'd like you to modify it and try to create this pattern. So you'll notice that here we've got a triangle, pentagon, hexagon, and a circle. In blue, 1 line, and then we're going to repeat that. And we're going to repeat that 5 times. Go ahead and try that. Pause the video if you need to. And I'm now going to show you the solution. Okay, here's the solution for it. You'll notice that the script is getting awfully long. I'm going to have to actually scroll down here. You'll notice that once again it's kind of confusing because I've got no comments here. I should probably add some comments. Let's just put some comments in here. Oh, it's running on me. I'm going to add a comment here. Okay, this bit of code does the triangle. This bit of code does the pentagon. This bit of code does the hexagon. And this bit of code does the circle. And you could also add that the whole thing is repeated number of lines. Now I don't think it's going to let me add my comment. Add my comment. It won't let me do it to the repeat, unfortunately. Oh, there it does. Okay. So the comments work very nice with that. It helps you to understand what's going on here. So there's a solution. I'll let you have a look at that. Okay. You might have different pen colors because I've used a random number between 0 and 200 here, but that's fine. I want you to have a close look at how the X and the Y positions change. Okay, so there we have it. There's your answer. Pause the video if you want to have a closer look at that. Here's your next exercise. I'd like you to create this shape using nested loops. Okay, you'll notice that this square is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4 squares, and then this square is made up of the same 4 squares. So you're going to nest. You're going to do it once, twice, and each time you're going to draw that square, and then that square, and then that square. Actually, you're going to start, well, you decide where you're going to start. But you'll notice that these are 4, these is the same bit of code here 4 times, and to draw the square is a nest as well. So I believe you're going to actually have level 3 nesting. You're going to have one loop there, do that 4 times, and then do the whole thing 2 times. A little bit tricky. Pause the video while you try it, and then here's the solution. Okay, let's have a look at the solution. And you might have thought that the code was going to be very, very large, but in fact, it turns out to be very small. The repeat 4 times, this bit right here, there it is right there. Let me add some comments here, and you'll get a good idea of how the comments help people to understand what's going on. Draw a square. So this bit of code draws the square. This bit of code draws 4 small squares. And that repeat there draws the 2 larger squares. Okay, so you can see here how the comments help you to sort of understand what's going on. If I wanted to draw 3 sets, easy enough to do. Okay. The last exercise, create this shape below using nested loops. This one's a little bit tricky. It has more to do with, this is a 2-sided figure, but it's the angle that's different. So you're not going to do that 360 divided by 2. You're going to have to figure out what angle that's going to be. Okay, so this might take you a little while to try to figure out. Pause the video and then I'll give you the solution. Okay, let's have a look at that solution. Once again, you'll see that it's not that big of a code. Let's just see how it draws it. Okay, let's just have a quick look here and see exactly what's going on. To draw, how do I draw that shape there? It's not a straight line. What I've done is I've repeated it 18 times. Okay, let me just put the slow. Okay, so I've repeated it 18 times. Let's start again. And it's doing this. It's going 10 steps and moving 5 degrees. And it's doing that 18 times. And that's going to draw my arc. And once I've done that, I'm going to turn 90 degrees. And then repeat that on the way back. So it's going to draw another 18 sides here. It's going to get back to the center. So the 2 is to draw my petal. And it turns 60 degrees. And then it repeats that 6 times. So the 6 times is the 6 petals. Let me just keep this, let me go turbo here. Okay, so my comment is one side of the pedal draw a two-sided pedal and draw 6 pedals. Okay, so the draw 6 pedals comment goes with the repeat 6 times loop. The one side of the pedal is my 18 loop, and my two-sided pedal is my repeat 2 times loop. Okay, so that's a pretty tricky little drawing to try to come up with. All right, here's your assignment for this particular lesson. I'd like you to draw nested triangles assignment, and I'd like you to hand this in Threadline. This one's going to be a bit of a challenge. You'll want to consider how you're going to draw these, where you're going to start and where you're going to end your triangle so that you can move on to the next one. You could start down here, you can start there, you can start, I would not recommend starting in the middle. You can start there, you can start there. You'll notice that this triangle is made up of 3. You don't need to draw that upside down triangle because it's made up of this one and that one and that one. So triangle, 3-sided figure, repeat 3 times, and then repeat the whole thing 2 times. Look at this bit of code for some advice. That is an assignment. There's no solution. You have to do that, hand it in on Edline. That is the end of lesson number 3.